But Jordan, we have been doing these top fives for quite a few weeks now. We just got finished with defensive tackles last week. Now we're going to move on to the top 5 cornerbacks all time for the Clemson Tigers. You guys in the comment section, like I always say, I'm sure you guys will 1,000% agree with our list because you guys always agree with all of our list, right? But get some names in the comment section. Give me your top 5. You can list them 1 to 5. You can just throw them out there. They don't have to be in any particular order, but just off the top of your guys' head, who's the top 5 cornerbacks to ever strap it up for the Clemson Tigers? Jordan, who you got?
All right, we're gonna do what we've been doing. Just kind of
we'll just throw a bunch of names out there, and then once we get to a good stopping point, we'll just figure out our ranking from there. I think that's been working the best.
Yeah, that works for me. Okay, when this is going to be another tough one because there are a lot of names that are probably we're going to mention and are going to have to be cut. But I'll start with one that I think a lot of people think of, especially in recent memory, as far as Clemson quarterbacks. We're going to go with Mackenzie Alexander. All-American. He was here for a short time, but his impact in the couple of years he started was unbelievable. One of my favorite players, period, that I've watched in my time being a fan. Just one of the rare just mentality type cornerbacks where he is just like that guy believed he could cover anybody. And he would tell the opposing wide receiver that I remember that playoff game against Oklahoma, him going back and forth with Sterling Shepard. That was must see TV. That was beautiful. I wish he was able to play in that national championship game. I feel like maybe that game plays out a little bit differently, but still one of the best corners I've seen lace it up for the Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was fun to watch, and definitely a big part of those national championship runs. All right, I'm gonna get my first one here. Let's see. I'm gonna go a recent guy as well. It'll probably get a little bit older from here, but first guy I'm gonna mention, his brother's actually on the team right now, but AJ Terrell. I think is a guy that you have to mention when you're talking about cornerbacks at Clemson. The dude was absolutely insane. Just a quiet guy, I guess, but just a dog out there, just about his business, and just one of those guys that, not very many quarterbacks wanted to go after. So he's definitely on my list. AJ Terrell finished his career with 107 tackles, 20 pass breakups, and 6 interceptions to go with 2 forced fumbles. Just a pretty incredible career for AJ Terrell. And now he's balling out for the Atlanta Falcons right now and getting paid a whole bunch of money to do it. So shout out.
Yes, he is.
Shout out AJ Terrell.
Another obvious pick, two-time national champion. Well, actually, no, he was.
And you can never forget the play that started that national championship route of Alabama.
Yeah.
That he, that pick six that really got it all started.
Yeah.
And then it was just a Clemson dunk on Alabama fest from then on out.
Yeah, absolutely. That play will forever be in Clemson lore.
Yeah.
I said two-time national champion, but I remember he was a freshman in the 2017 class. So he just had the one, and then he made another national championship game. But decorated career, all ACC cornerback, and now he's an all-pro caliber cornerback in the NFL. Yeah, you definitely got to have him on the list. All right, my next guy. This one's. I'm trying to choose. I think both of them are still going to end up getting mentioned, but I'm going to go back into the day. I'm going to go with Donnell Wolford. I think one of the. You could probably argue for a time. I know like a lot of old heads, think of him as the best cornerback that Clemson's ever had. You could still probably make that argument.
I was gonna say him, but yeah, that's a very good pick.
I stole him. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Our list combined me in anyway.
Yeah, I think you got to have him on the list. One of the great late Danny Ford era players, and just a dog out there. One of the best cover corners that Clemson has had. Yeah, you got to have him on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. Came to Clemson as a running back, actually. I'm going to mention a guy just because I really like him. I don't know where he'll end up on the list, but Andrew Booth is one of my favorite cornerbacks to ever play at Clemson. The attitude that dude played with got him in trouble sometimes, but definitely an intense guy on the field. Just like you mentioned before, with Mackenzie Alexander, a guy that thought he could cover everybody, and a guy that definitely grew as his Clemson career progressed and got a lot better. He was a lot better when he left Clemson than he was when he first got there. But Andrew Booth, one of my favorite Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, the guy had so many highlight reel plays.
Just play with a swagger about him,
Yeah, I mean, the one, one of my favorite in terms of just his ball skills, like the one-handed catches or interceptions. The one against Virginia, I think about all the time that in the COVID year, that interception he had against Pitt, where it looked like he literally was flying across the screen to make that interception on that flea flick.
Yeah,
I mean that was a lot of fun. He was a very fun player. So great pick. Certainly is in that conversation, I would say. I'm going to go a more recent guy too. Really recent, like he just left here. I'm going to go with Nate Wiggins. Maybe it's recency bias, but I think Nate Wiggins just even this shortly removed from his career, is one of the best corners might be the best corner I've seen play at Clemson. Just in terms of his pure talent and cover ability, there has not been a player quite like Nate Wiggins. His stretch in 2023 is one of the best I've ever seen from a corner. Everybody thinks of the highlight reel, like chasing down Amarian Hampton against North Carolina.
Yes.
And those kinds of things. But really, I mean, I've said 2023, but if you go back to that Wake Forest game, his sophomore year, where he got absolutely torched and had the worst game of his career, that, after that game on to the end of his career, he was basically unbeatable. Like teams just would not throw his way. He had so many, he had a lot of crazy statistics that you could point to, like a passer rating allowed. I think it was he was allowing a 8 or something like that passer rating, NFL passer rating throughout his last season. Tons of pass breakups. He wasn't a huge interception guy, but he made some big ones. The pick 6 against North Carolina in the ACC championship game. He had I already mentioned the North Carolina game. He had multiple big interceptions. The guy was a playmaker. Yes. And I think you have to have, and one of the fastest players I've ever seen play at Clemson. That you don't teach that level of speed. He was gifted.
You can't teach it. I mean, the dude he had track speed while wearing a helmet and shoulder pads.
Yeah.
And just one of my favorite things about Nate Wiggins is that dude's ability to just let a bad play go.
Yeah.
And we always talk about that when it comes to cornerbacks and defensive backs in general. Is cornerbacks definitely, in my opinion, one of the toughest positions on a football field. Like, it's not easy. to just mimic everything a receiver's doing and get yourself in a position to try to make a play on the ball first and foremost. But you think back to that, that game where he just got obliterated time and time again by Wake Forest, right? And to just swallow that and do what he had to do to progress into the cornerback that he eventually became at Clemson, that's crazy to me because that's not easy because he got abused on national television, but still came back in that game, as you mentioned, to make that play, right? Just the mental toughness, I think, is one of my favorite things when I think about Nate Wiggins. He's just got a keen ability to just let a bad play go, and I'm gonna just go try to make the next play. Big. That's important when it comes to cornerbacks. All right, I'm gonna go DeAndre McDaniel.
Great pick.
Guy, I think you got to mention first team All American, right? In 2009. He was the first guy to do that in a while when he came through. So definitely a guy I think that you got to mention when you're discussing who's going to end up in the top 5. I think DeAndre McDaniel is definitely a guy that got to be talked about.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be a fan favorite, and he through his time, he embodied a lot of what Clemson football was at that time. And obviously he's had a successful coaching career. He spent time at Clemson on staff. I think there's a lot of love. I think he's definitely got to be a personal fan favorite for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Whew. There's still multiple names swimming in my head. How many are we at right now?
Where are we at now? So we have Mackenzie Alexander, right? We had Andrew Booth. We had
AJ Terrell.
AJ. We had Donnell.
Yeah, Donnell
Wolford. So Mackenzie Alexander, Andrew Booth, Donnell Wolford, AJ Terrell.
Nate Wiggins. And DeAndre McDaniel. So are we at 6?
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are at 6.
Okay.
We are at 6.
Cool. All right. Man, okay. I'm gonna go another personal favorite of mine from the championship years, Cordray Tankersley.
Yes.
I think he's got to be in that conversation as well. We really were blessed, as far as just that run we've had of cornerbacks over the last 10 or 15 years. But you got to have him on the list as well. And obviously he ended up winning a championship, so wasn't All-American doing it. You got to have him on the list. Tons of big plays. Another just great playmaker. I don't think the coverage ability, he got beat sometimes, but man, he would make up for it. So I think you got to have him on the list.
Yeah,
and I mentioned, it's funny because with Tankersley, he had the statistics, and with Mackenzie Alexander, he didn't record a single interception over his career. So It's kind of funny how you look at you look at cornerback play, and it's not always about the statistics when you look at that position, because sometimes teams don't throw your way. Sometimes it's a bounce of the ball, whether or not you get a pick or a pass breakup or nothing at all. So that's still crazy to me that Mac never got a pick.
It's almost unbelievable that
Yeah.
he went his entire career with no pick. But, they say they play cornerback for a reason, can't catch the ball. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, last one, and then we're going to have to try to narrow down this list because it is growing quickly. I'm going to go Ty Hill.
Yep.
Lockdown cornerback, first team All-American, early 2000s guy, 2002, somewhere in there, 2002.
Yeah.
I think. Let me look so I don't lie to the people.
I always had. I typically had them like off the top of my head. I used to know like the years all these players played.
Yeah. So 2002 to 2005.
Yeah.
He was a consensus All-American, finalist for the Jim Thorpe Award, and he was a first-round pick in the NFL draft. So shout out to Ty Hill. All right. So that's our list right now. Now we got to go in and put it in order. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy at all.
Yeah.
We got 8 people here.
And people are going to be mad at us because, like, I'm thinking of names right now, and I see some people have mentioned them in the chat too. That you could make the case should be on the list too. That's the fun part about these lists is because especially when you look at the defensive end, because it's like there's not a lot of separation between these guys.
Marcus Gilchrist, that's a good
Marcus
one.
Gilchrist, absolutely.
That's a great one.
In the conversation, Rod McSwain from
Rod McSwain.
Yeah. Cresden Butler, man, that's a name I have. Oh, that's an underrated one.
Yeah.
I mean, you really gotta. I mean, Cody Sensabaugh. Let's see.
Dang. Darius Robinson.
You've had some names. Bashad Breeland.
Bashad Breeland. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
You've had some dogs, man.
All right. But we can't add to the list because we already got too many people on the list now. And we got to cut 3 off of this list, or 3 that won't make the top 5. So I'm going to list our top 8, if you will, and then we will slowly start whittling it down into some semblance of an order. So we got Mackenzie Alexander, Andrew Booth, Donnell Wolford, AJ Terrell, Nate Wiggins, DeAndre McDaniel, Cordray Tankersley, and Ty Hill. So, with that said, who we got number 1? Got to start at number 1.
That's going to be that's tough.
Yeah.
And I've actually had this conversation with friends before, and I had an answer then, and I feel like it's going to be a controversial one because they're okay. I'm going to say it.
Okay. Who you got?
My number 1 cornerback for the longest time was Mackenzie Alexander.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say, but who you got?
Nate Wiggins passed him for me.
Really? Okay.
And before y'all come at me, I valued it based on with Mackenzie Alexander. I think obviously there's going to be some bias there because he was on better football teams. I mean, frankly,
yes.
But as far as like when I watched them play, I was just flat out blown away at what they were doing. I got more of those moments from Nate Wiggins. Like, I can't believe he just did that type of plays. Like, I loved Max, like, attitude. Like, he was one of the toughest football players and just like everything you want in a corner. He was cocky. He would talk trash. Like, I that was what drew me to Mackenzie Alexander. But in terms of just kind of like, wow, like this is special. It was Nate Wiggins. And you can say that's recency bias. You might be right.
Yeah.
But I've thought about this for about I guess it's been like a year now since he left Clemson. So I just feel differently. I can't explain it any better than that. I just feel.
No, I got you. I still got
I
McKenzie
watched Nate Wiggins and I'm like, wow, this is special.
I still got McKenzie number 1. But
That's fair.
We can interchange those. Those are fine. I'm not mad at it. I think I still give McKenzie the edge, but I do see what you're saying. So we'll go Nate Wiggins 1, Mackenzie Alexander 2. Number 3, I feel like it's got to be Wolford, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I think you can make a case for all 3 of these guys to be 1.
Yes,
like
Donnell Wolford's up.
Can we cheat? Can we do 1A, 1? Can we do 1A, 1B?
1A, 1B, 1C.
Yeah.
So we don't have to cut anybody off the list.
Yeah, because I don't feel good about. I really don't feel good about knocking any one of these 3. I feel like these are like the 3 best that I've seen. Well, I didn't see Donnell Wolford play.
Yeah, but you can go look.
Yeah.
at his stuff and just look at his stats. And the real deal.
I think you got to have him on the list. You got to have him in that conversation.
I mean, he was a 2-time first-team All-American, right? That dude was
in terms of accolade. Yeah, he's arguably the most he's probably the most decorated on that list. So it's like, but we got to put him in order.
Yes.
We just okay. Well, you know what? We'll do this because I just recently came to this Nate Wiggins conclusion for the sake of clarity, for the sake of kind of what's closer to consensus.
Right.
Let's put Mackenzie Alexander 1. We'll do Nate Wiggins 2, and then Donnell Wolford 3. But in my personal, and I'll just make it in my personal feelings, Nate Wiggins slightly past Mackenzie Alexander.
Yeah.
And this is just a recent.
But truly, those 3 dudes could be 1A, 1B, 1C. No doubt about it. I think those 3 are very close when it comes to ranking the best cornerback. And a lot of it is what era of Clemson did you come from, right? We didn't get the luxury of seeing Donnell Wolford play, right? We can go back and watch highlights and, all the ACC championships and the great record Clemson had while he was there and the 2-time All-American, but we can't give it justice because we didn't get to watch it, right? It's one of those things. It happened before I was born, unfortunately. Right. All right. So 1, 2, and 3 we got. I will read off the other ones we have on the list that are not yet ranked. All right. So AJ Terrell, DeAndre McDaniel, Cordray Tankersley, Ty Hill, and Andrew Booth.
I want to go Ty Hill. I'm between Ty Hill and AJ Terrell.
Honestly, I'm going to go AJ Terrell.
Yeah, you get the national championship.
Yeah, that beatdown of Alabama. He was crucial in that game, and helped lead that defense to another national championship. Although it didn't go great against that LSU squad, but again, that was a different beast that they ran into. And then you got to go And then I think it's between Ty Hill and DeAndre McDaniel.
I'm going to go Ty Hill. I'm Ty Hill. But yeah, I think I'm Ty Hill.
So that would put DeAndre McDaniel at 6, I think. So first out of the top 5. I don't feel good about that, but it kind of is what it is at this point. And then you got Cordray Tankersley. I think he would be 7. And then Andrew Booth will be last at 8.
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I would do with the list that we got here. All right, so
oh my God, we got. And Garnet mentioned Trayvon Mullen. How did we?
Oh my God, he should be in there over Andrew Booth.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I personally,
No.
I'd have Andrew Booth over Trayvon Mullen.
Well, he could be 9 then.
Yeah, he can be 9. But I think Trayvon Mullen's got to be there too. That's tough. He said Jamar Chase made me see. Well, Trayvon Mullen wasn't on that 2019 team. He left after the championship team. It was your starting corners that year were that was AJ Terrell, Darian Kendrick. You had Mario Goodrich in there. Who else was on that team? You would have still had Andrew Booth was a freshman that year.
Yep.
He didn't play all that much. Your starting corners were AJ Terrell and Darian Kendrick.
Yes. And we got cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Booth. It seems like Booth's way too low, but I mean, like,
I don't know where you put him because
he could go to 7 above Cordray Tankersley, but I mean, I don't know. Like, it's tough. It's tough.
And you know what? And while we're at it, James mentioned, DeAndre McDaniel was the safety, so we honestly can take him off the list. And he played. He also played linebacker too. He played all over the place. But I guess we can.
Yeah.
So okay, so we'll take out DeAndre McDaniel. We'll save him for safeties.
Yeah.
Let's do that. That way we can slide Trayvon Mullen in.
All right, so we'll put Trayvon Mullen on the list. Right now we got 1 Mackenzie Alexander, 2 Nate Wiggins, 3 Donnell Wolford, 4 AJ Terrell, 5 Ty Hill. And then we got.
I thought about Justin Miller too, but Justin Miller was more of a he was certainly more known for his return ability. He was a good corner though.
Return specialist, yeah.
Yeah. He was a good corner though, but I feel like when we think of him, when I think of Justin Miller, I think of his special teams plays. So I would say if we do like a top 5 returners in Clemson history, which I think we could, he would be on my list for sure. Yeah. Arguably, he would definitely be in my top 3, maybe top 2.
No doubt. Okay. So we got 1 through 5. I don't think we're changing 1 through 5, right?
No.
So we got to rank 6, 7, and 8. Andrew Booth, Cordray Tankersley, and Trayvon Mullen.
Okay, I'm going to go Tankersley, Booth, Mullen. I'm sorry, no. I'm going to go Tankersley, Mullen, Booth. I'm going to give Tankersley and Mullen the edge for national championships. Okay. And Trayvon Mullen was also I believe wasn't he the defensive MVP in the championship game? I feel pretty sure because AJ Terrell had the pick 6, but Trayvon Mullen also had that pick that he returned. It was the over, and he also had I think he also had a sack in that game. So he had a really great game. So I'm gonna go Tankersley, Mullen, and then Booth at 8. I don't feel great about that, but we got to come up with an order. What are you thinking?
Right. So 6, Cordray Tankersley, right? 7,
Mullen,
Trayvon Mullen, and 8, Andrew Booth. Okay. All right. So there we go. It's locked in. Here we go. Top 8, I guess, if you will, but top 5, right? According to me and Jordan, for best Clemson cornerbacks of all time, 1, Mackenzie Alexander. 2, Nate Wiggins. 3, Donnell Wolford. 4, AJ Terrell. 5, Ty Hill. And then honorable mentions, we got number 6, Cordray Tankersley. Number 7, Trayvon Mullen. And number 8, Andrew Booth. So there you have it.
Yeah.
That was tough.
That was tough, and I don't feel confident.
I don't feel great.
So feel free to
be the list that I feel the least great about that we've made so far.
Yeah.
Just because, it was tough. It was a little tougher than I thought it was going to be. But again, we just get up here and we throw names out, and then we rank them. So it's not like we deep dive into stats and all this stuff and do all that stuff before. It's more of just
and shout out the guys
naming names that come to our mind when we think about a position group, when we think about Clemson, and then ranking them according to us. So that's how we get to our list. I think it's more fun and organic that way versus, deep diving into the stat books and ranking dudes based off of that. I rather just rank dudes based off of what I remember from Clemson football. So there you have it, guys. There's our 1 through 5 with 3 honorable mentions.